And I'm live. That is pretty cool. Today is 20th of April 2026, Monday. And with that, let's just begin. So, yep, it is starting. Cool. So, right now the setup that we have here is we are using Terraform, which creates an AWS instance with the specified settings that we have defined in here. Infrastructure, Terraform, and shit. What? Why did this thing fail? I think this is from before. This is action number 22 and the latest action number 22. Ah, wait, why did that one fail? Why did this one fail? Error, connection refused. Yep. All of these things are different. Yep, cool. And so right now we do have Terraform working, and Terraform can create an AWS instance, and Terraform gives us the IP address of the new instance that it just created here, public IP of the new instance, and that public IP is then being used workflows cedar.yaml. That same public IP is then being used to SSH into the latest machine with the correct backend URL with the correct host name taken from Terraform, and yep, everything is cool. Now today we want to set up so that Terraform, after creating the instance, also updates the DNS record so that cool, so that yep, also updates the DNS records, and then the domain is always pointing to the correct IP address. So that would be cool. And we are going to go through this article. Shit, this is very latest. Okay, cool. Learn how to configure the DNS provider in Terraform to manage DNS records programmatically using RFC number, request for comments 2136 dynamic updates. Okay, DNS management is a critical part of any infrastructure setup, and doing it manually through a web console gets old fast. Yes, that is true. The DNS provider in Terraform allows you to manage DNS records through RFC 2136 dynamic updates, which means you can create, update, and delete DNS records on any compliant DNS server, including Bind, Windows DNS, and others that support the standard. Okay, this RFC number 2136, I guess name.com does support this. This provider is different from cloud specific DNS providers like these. It talks directly to DNS servers using DNS update protocol, making it a solid choice for on-premises DNS infrastructure when you need a cloud agnostic approach. Okay, so we are looking for Terraform DNS provider. This is the one, DNS provider in Terraform. Yep, we configure it like this. Server update this, key name this, and how does this take in the keys and different things that it must. Yep, secret key is this, whatever secret key is. Let's go through the article. Prerequisite: Terraform 1 or later. Okay, we do have it. A DNS server that supports RFC 2136 dynamic updates, bind this, etc. TSIG key configured on the DNS server for authentication recommended. TSIG, okay. We have name.com for the DNS records. Log in to name.com using Google. And name.com should have this RFC. Wait, this one uses RFC 2845, and this is RFC 2136. API support, API name.com DNS update RFC, adding DNS records to this. Okay, name.com dynamic updates in domain name system published in 19. Okay, shit, this is very old. This was published in 1997. Show DNS templates, update DNS templates. This is the manual thing to do. Adding DNS records and templates. Okay, let's just go through the article. Here we have to tell Terraform that a DNS provider is needed. Okay, cool. And then we already have this provider, by the way, just saying. In infrastructure, Terraform main, we have, wait, shit, we do not have the DNS provider, so we would have to add it. DNS source is the same as HashiCorp DNS, and version is 3. What is the version here? It is 3.4. Cool. Let's say 3.4. Okay, this will give us the DNS provider and then basic provider configuration. We have to set up configuration for the provider. Okay, it takes key name, key secret, Terraform key recommended for production server, DNS server address and port. Port is this. This is this. Wait. Okay. Without authentication, we can also do this without authentication for testing in a lab environment. You can skip TSIG. Wait, setting up TSIG key. Wait, TSIG is a key thing. TSIG authentication recommended for production. So we have to key name is this, key algorithm is this, and the secret key. Okay, TSIG is a way of creating a key just like SSH. Okay, and we create TSIG key using this command where we are giving the algorithm like this, and this is the name of the key. Cool. This outputs something like this. TSIG keygen command with this algorithm, with this creates a key like this, secret and algorithm like this. Okay, in this JSON type format. Add this to your bind configuration. This is a variable. Okay, and it is sensitive. And then how to actually manage the record. Create an A record pointing to a single IP. Pointing to a single IP, resource DNS, a record test, and address is this, and this is this. Okay, what are these different kinds of records? What are all these different kinds of records? What are DNS records? Why Cloudflare? Yep, that would be cool. Let's read this. DNAME, CNAME, CAA, A record, DNS domain name server. Record aka zone file are instructions that live in authoritative DNS servers and provide information about a domain, including what IP address is associated with that domain and how to handle requests for that domain. These records consist of a series of text files written in what is known as DNS syntax. DNS syntax is just a string of characters used as commands that tell the DNS server what to do. All DNS records also have a TTL, which stands for time to live, and indicates how often a DNS record will refresh that record. Okay, a DNS server will refresh that record. You can think of a set of DNS records like a business listing on Yelp. That listing will give you a bunch of useful information about a business such as their location, hours, services offered, etc. All domains are required to have at least a few essential DNS records for a user to be able to access their website using a domain name. And there are several optional records that, what are different types of records? A record, the record that holds the IP of a domain. Learn more about IP of a domain. Okay, what is 4A record? The record that contains the IPv6 address for a domain, as opposed to A records which have IPv4 address. Okay, the distinction between this and this is clear. Distinction is clear. Here you have your domain name in this record, and the key and the value for that domain name is going to be a IPv4 address, and in this case it is going to be a IPv6 address. And here CNAME record forwards one domain or subdomain to another domain, does not provide an IP address. Okay, CNAME forwards one domain or subdomain to another domain, does not provide an IP address. Okay, so if that is cool, I guess if we go to name.com and I go to my domains, walrus.codes, which is going to expire next year, and manage DNS records, I should not be able to add an IP address as the value for a DNS CNAME type record, which does make sense. Here, this is shit. If I change the type of this from CNAME to A, I guess this will fail. Update. Yes, invalid entry, because we need to put an IP address here. Okay, that makes so much sense. But CNAME is fine. And also, if we try to update the DNS record for this edit to a CNAME, and we are not giving a domain name here, but instead an IP address, I guess this should also fail. Cool, this also fails because this is not CNAME. For CNAME we have to give a domain name here, but for A type we can give an IP address. It will also work. Cool, makes sense. That is A name, A and CNAME, and then MX record directs mail to an email server. Okay, TXT record lets an admin store text nodes in the record. These records are often used for email services. NS records stores the name server for a DNS provider for a DNS entry. Okay, cool. I guess these two are the main ones. These three are the main ones. Cool. So that is cool. How do we now we can read this article? We just want to update A records and CNAME records. Cool. How do we update an A record? In A record, this is the address. This is what should point example.com, and dot at the end for some reason, and TTL. What is TTL? Time to live. Share. Yes, makes sense. Time to live in seconds tells DNS resolver how long to cache this DNS record. Okay, time to live is like 300 seconds, 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, ask me again for the IP address of this domain. Create an A record with multiple IPs. Okay, this just like works somehow. But how is this working? We created a key, but we have not given any information about name.com here without authentication. DNS provider supports resources that perform DNS updates. This and data resources for reading DNA information. The provider can be configured with a secret key based on authentication. This and this. Use the navigation to the left to read about the available resources and data using secret key and algorithm. So I guess we have to create a key, API tokens, that would show us the API tokens. API dashboard, token management. How do we update the DNS record? Okay, you should not have seen that token. I will delete it. You can create another token from here, but the delete button like this does not show when this is in dark mode. We can create another token. Use Claude. How to update DNS record. How to update DNS record using Terraform with name.com as the DNS provider using tokens. Searching the web. Okay. Here's a complete setup. Generate a token. We can do that. Name.com has its own provider, but you can use this Lex Fry, FREI. Provider name.com takes in username and the token. Okay, we put them as variables and set them in the environment. And then for the DNS record itself, name.com, record domain name to this domain name. Type record A, answer, put this thing, and this is the time to live for that domain, apex domain, and for subdomain API A, root A, that is the name we have given. And okay, host is API host empty string equals apex, that is the main record. Cool, makes sense. And this is a subdomain, host api.example.com would be pointed to this. Cname record host is this, domain name is this, record type is cname, answer is this. Go to this example.com dot and then apply. But after this, username token example api.name.com, importing existing records. If you already have records, okay, shit, this is the place from where we can get our records that we already have created. But is this safe? Lexi Fry is the person who created this provider. Lexi Fry created this provider and is making providers here, like making plugins in Nginx. Like anyone can make one, and I just have to trust that this is fine and not cheating. Okay, health check. Yes, it is very similar to Nginx plugins. Anyone can publish a provider to the Terraform registry. HashiCorp reviews and marks them as official, HashiCorp built or partner verified. But community like this one are just someone's code you are running with your credentials. The specific risk here, This provider takes your name.com API token and makes HTTP requests with it. You are trusting that it actually hitting in api.name.com and not exfiltrating your token somewhere else. How to assert that it is safe? Check the source. The providers is on GitHub. You can read it. It is not a huge code base. Okay, stars activity. Okay, we can actually go this place and check out the code. There are like 12 stars. The last commit was 2 weeks ago. This looks, I don't know, how does it look? Put the Terraform provider like this, written in Go. Lexi Fry. I guess I can trust him. Proud dog father. Bros into Kubernetes and Linux. Gaming, reading, dog training. Okay, I guess we can use this. That would be fine. It would be fine to use this. Cool. So, yep, we'll just use this. Terraform Lexi Fry name.com provider. Hello. Shit. That was very scary. Share. Okay. Shit, I don't know how to work with computers. I'm just learning. It is fine now. Cool. Okay. So what we are doing here is we are automating literally everything. Literally everything is being automated, and the only thing missing is that the domain name walrus.codes is pointing, well, right now it is pointing to the correct server, but it has to point to the, if this AWS instance dies and we get a new IP address, then also this thing walrus.codes should point to the correct domain name and to the correct public IP provided by the AWS. So we are using Terraform, which is the service which we are already using, to here create an instance on AWS and set up everything. We will be using the same thing to set up our DNS records. So pretty cool. And for this we are using this provider, LexiCorp. Cool. Example usage, and do something like this. Okay. In main we have to do something like this, but also the article that we were just reading, this article, what is this talking about? Because I don't get what they are actually configuring. This article talks about updating DNS record, but are they talking about updating DNS record on DNS server or the local records available on the computer? Because if they are talking about updating the DNS server, then we can use this instead of the Alexi plugin that we are using. This article is talking about something completely different from what you want. This is a crucial distinction. The article uses HashiCorp DNS, which uses this RFC DNS protocol. This means that it talks directly to a DNS server over port 53 using a protocol called TSIG. It is for people who run their own DNS servers, like bind, okay, in their own infrastructure. It has nothing. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. So we'll have to use something like this, HashiCorp. Name.com equals source equals lex fry name.com and version is 1.1.6. cool terraform init and shit I that is crazy actually. Infrastructure terraform and here inside providers provider name.com username is bar.name.com username, which you already are using, and then token is var.namecom API token cd infra terraform init to get the provider and shit so. Oh, we misspelled source. Could not query provider registry for this, I guess, because the version might have changed. So anything which is equal to this version or higher than this version would work. Yep, we are getting it. Cool. So okay, now what do we have to do? Wait, shit, that just like works. This is the setup. Resources name.com DNS record. This is how we update a record. We'll create a new folder, DNS record.tf. Resource that we are using is name.com record, and name would be walrus codes for the root. Domain name is walrus.codes. Host is empty. That means like domain empty means that we are configuring not a subdomain but the host actual main domain. And record type is A for this, and record value is this AWS instance.walrus.ip, which is pretty cool. Okay, this should work. This should work except of from the fact that we need to update our name.com provider API keys, and everything else is cool. Name.com API dashboard, manage API tokens. I will have to hide my screen. That was just like a random token. I will have to create a token, and now I will hide my screen so that you don't see the token. Generate new token. Okay. Cool. I have gotten the new token. Cool. Now first you have to source that file name.com.sh so that the token is an environment variable, and when we do Terraform plan, Terraform will pick up those tokens. Shit, record value equals this name.com record. So record value is not expect an argument of record value is not expected here. RECORT. Shit, because the name is answer. Answer. Terraform plan. Okay, it is planning. Cool. What this will do is answer would be this sensitive. Yep, some information is sensitive. Variables we have given sensitive equals true, sensitive equals true, and what else is sensitive? Instance type is not sensitive, AM ID is not sensitive, and server URL or ACME is not sensitive. Okay. Terraform apply. This should work. This should actually work. Yes, update the DNS records. And shit, name.com record. Why duplicate record? Invalid argument. Duplicate record. Okay, because we already have this record. Okay, makes sense. So how do we update a record? I guess I just delete all the records from name.com. We can create them from here and not manually from Terraform itself. Manage DNS records. These are the ones. Delete this for backend. Delete this. Delete the TOI record and delete. Cool. Now this should work. Terraform apply, and I guess we might get error. Lock. Okay, we are not getting any lock error. Cool. Yes. Okay, that is pretty cool. And we are getting here this thing which is the public IP or the certificate. This is the certificate. This in outputs. Yep, this is the certificate which we do not want to print. Cool. That must have created a new DNS record. Hopefully. Yep, that did create a new DNS record. Now we will Terraform destroy this thing to bring down our whole AWS instance with this. Yep, delete everything, literally everything. Cool. And github.com, you have to, yes, we do have to change some things. We have to get put the new name.com key here. the new name.com keys here in secrets, actions. We did not push the code yesterday. Cool, makes sense. The last commit was yesterday in the morning. Yep, which means yes, makes sense. Fix cd. Okay, I want to put all of this together and squash all these commits in git log and git no pager log in the last uh, 5 commits, graph, and anything else. Right, cool. And I guess one line. Yes, that makes it beautiful. Cool. So we have not made any commit after this 5.6 commit. Okay. Git diff, what are the differences? We added the whole TLS thing, the certification, and also the DNS records. Okay, so we can copy our Terraform, or we can put these uncommented changes somewhere. I think it is called changes in Git somewhere and then bring them back later. Stash, I think it's called a stash. Yep. Use git stash to temporarily save uncommitted changes without creating a formal commit. This command clears your working directory by moving modified and staged changes into a local stack, allowing you to switch branches to perform other tasks. Save all, git stash. Okay. Git status, git add. You are unable to create this log.git.log file exists. Another git process seems to be running in this repository. Which is messed up. Your branch is up to date. The log file exists. We broke git somehow. Delete the log file manually to resolve this error. The file is created by git to prevent. Okay, index.log and.git slash index.log, and the file is actually empty. Remove.git slash index.log, git add everything, git stash, git status. Okay, everything is stashed now. Git, we will see git log or git no pager log the last 10 commits, let's say last 12 commits, and put them in a graph with one line. Put them in one line. Good. So git number 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. We want to git rebase at 11. git rebase head 11 I interactive. Wait, shit. Git no pager. We did not mess anything up. Git rebase in interactive mode head 11. Cool. That is going to be fixed, and everything else is going to be squash. Okay, save and quit. Cool. And here just remove everything, and the git message would be fixed. cd works with Terraform. Cool. And now if we do git no pager log one line, after readme we did fix cd works with Terraform. Now we should git push origin main hard force this should update. And how to get back git stash help, how to get back stuff from stash pop. Cool. Git status. Cool. Modified and new files that we created are all back. Pretty good. Hello. Shit. Hello, how are you? You don't use ZSH? Wait, syntax highlighting and sub string search? No. Yes, I do want to set it up. I've seen some people use it. ZSH highlighting. Wait, what can I use? I was searching like ls for LSP for ZSH, but that is for files which are open in ZSH format, .zsh files for NewM. But what do you use for this highlighting and reverse search? Cool. If we refresh, cool, and the workflow is working, building the bench, and this will be deployed. Cool. Now Terraform, we have the latest keys. We have the latest keys here, but we do not have the latest keys in GitHub. We have to add them manually. Here, I use Starship. Okay, you were talking about Starship earlier also. I used to use OMZSH. Okay, Starship has all of this configured already. That is cool. Starship ZSH. Okay, it is the one. And how does it look? Okay, share. That looks good. That looks good. I think I can just get this right now. Mac OS. Just do this and it would work. Alternatively, or Nginx. Yep. I will get this from Nginx. Config Nginx flake.nginx. And also, like, what is the tool that you use for brews? No brew presets you could use. Okay, but Starship is more customizable. That is cool. I've actually not done any customization in ZSH, so I didn't know that you can customize OMA ZSH. And also, what is the shell script that you use for like sorting all of this? Because this looks horrible. Like T is the second letter, Okay, Starship is there. And also this thing column at the 80th column, this column is going to be highlighted because that is what pro programmers have in NeoVim. Now sudo Darwin, sudo Darwin rebuild switch. This might break some stuff. Let me check the current ZSH RC if there is something that I would like to keep. Aliases are in a separate file. One cat.zsh rc into .zsh rc backup.hold. Cool. And now sudo, not this, Darwin rebuild. Yes, cool. That should work. That should work. Hopefully, that should work. This brainstorm. Oh, it is just a normal script where if I enter inputs, it arranges. Oh, okay. So you okay. So you do not give it the path for the file, but you give the names of all the packages and it sorts them, I guess. Cool shit. Starship is there. Starship. Shit. Okay. Command build config init. Shell. The following requires arguments were not used. It says for more information, try help. Help Starship init prints the shell configuration. ZSH. Okay, put this into .zsh rc source.zsh rc AP South. Wait, on cloud. This is on cloud. AP South 1. Wait, why is this on cloud? See. Installation. Okay, get the thing installed, and then for ZSH, add the following at the end of the current one. Backup.hold at the end of this one, eval this and rm.zsh rc and move.zsh rc dot backup.hold to .zsh rc source dot zsh rc. Cool. The old configuration is there and the new one is also there. Presets get inspired by pre-build. Nerd font symbols, no nerd font symbols. It would look like this. Okay, yeah, I will go through this and make the configuration more beautiful. For now, let's get to this name.com. I have to. Yep, so we are able to create a DNS record. Now we just did. Oh shit. Nerd font is installed. CD infrastructure Terraform And also wait, refresh and hope the name was also deleted. Action, the last action worked. Now the only thing that we have to change is we have to add a way. Yep, this we have to add a way in our GitHub workflows so that before we do Terraform apply, we are giving some environment variables, which we are actually giving here. So we just have to add here a few more AF or TF Terraform var underscore namecom username whose value would be equal to, and TF var namecom API token, this would be equal to the same thing, secrets.tf var namecom com API token, and we just have to add them in GitHub, and this would work. I guess this would work. Actions, add new repository secret. One is AF var namecom username, and the secret is jrag137@mail.com. Like, not much a secret, you can see it, but the next one is the crucial one. Wait, shit, I guess I named it AF instead of, yep, this is supposed to be TF. We cannot change the key here, we have to delete this thing. And passkey, there is no passkey, I will have to use GitHub verify via email. Code has been sent. Wait, I have to hide my screen. Just 1 minute, let me get the code. Cool, it is done. Cool, now create new variable tf var namecom username, and the username is jrag137@gmail.com. Add secret, and the crucial one tf var namecom API token, and here I have to paste the token, for which we have to go to name.com API dashboard and go here, but I will again have to hide my screen to do that. I don't want to show you anything. Little context, yes, I am using Terraform. Terraform is a service which you can use to start up AWS instances with some predefined configuration. Yes, now I can show my screen. Cool. So we are using Terraform, which is a service you can use to define what kind of AWS instance you want, and Terraform, it starts up your instance. Here is the configuration for Terraform. You define, yeah, it has its own syntax. You provide the like AMI ID, which is Amazon Machine Image ID, to which describes the operating system and other stuff, and you give it a subnet, the type of the instance, which is T3 micro, subnet ID, VPC ID, security group, public you are here telling that this thing should have a public IP. What should be the key name? Key name is the key value pair which you use to SSH into the machine. And root block device, this means what should be the hardware, the SDD configuration for that machine. Volume size is 20 GB. The size should be 20 GB, and this is the type of of the hard drive. This means SDD, I think. SSD, I guess. And then it loads up this file init.sh, which runs when the instance has been created. And this file first installs Docker and then changes SSH port from 22, which is the default, to 4321, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. So Terraform does all that, and then Terraform also gets the IP address and gives it to the GitHub action here, CD pipeline, which takes the IP address and gets the Docker image and runs the latest Docker image after making a commit to the project. That is pretty cool. And right now what we are trying to do is we are using Terraform so that we don't have to go to the name.com DNS provider here, API dashboard, wait, not this, my domain, so that you don't have to manually go to the website, click on the domain, manage DNS records, and then here manually add a new record. You can use Terraform to do the same thing. So that is pretty cool. And that is like, it's pretty cool automation. And I guess this should work. We have given the environment variables also here, which have the right name. Yep. tf var name.com username, tf var name.com API token, and here tf var name.com username, name.com API ID. Delete this. Okay. Status. Okay, all these files. Are there some things that we would not like to push onto GitHub? keys.tf was modified. What is the difference that we made here? Git diff. Yep, we added a new key for TLS, for HTTPS certificate. Terraform keys.tf. Yep, we added a new key for TLS. Cool. Git commit, and message is added HTTP Terraform CA certification and DNS update. This should work. What does it mean? This should actually work. Let's see. Okay. This is going to build the image, latest Docker image, push it onto Docker Hub. And when this step is done, building and pushing the image, this will run, where this step will pull the image and run it, like says in the name. It's in the name. EA Sports. But there are some other few things which I would like to see about the certification process, like how does. So what are must-know kind of best practices that we should follow in Terraform? Just pick up your thoughts on this question. Best practices, because best practices, I mean, but Terraform is a one-time thing. You just write the configuration once and it is cool. I don't know what, because what would you like to optimize using Terraform? You're not really optimizing anything. You're just optimizing the process of not you always going up there. Hello, Rahul, why? Hmm. Hmm. I don't know what would be the best practices you could say. But I guess the only best practice would be to not show your API key, to not print your API key here in Terraform. That would be it. Okay, okay, okay. This is getting everything. This is getting everything. Cool. Terraform has been initialized successfully, which means the providers, AWS provider, name.com provider, TLS provider, ACME provider. ACME is Automated Certificate Management Environment provider has been set up. Cool, 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 cool. Sensitive value, sensitive value, sensitive value. And okay, okay, this is creating the certificate. Still creating the certificate. Okay, and I hope that this works. I hope that this works. Certificate completed. Okay, okay, okay. We did create the certificate. This is our new domain name. But wait, we created this. Did this also update the DNS record? This is what. Wait, this is what we should see on our name.com DNS page. This walrus.codes should be pointing to this IP address. If this worked, if this worked, if this worked. And it is, and it is. Cool. That is like very cool. That is very cool. That is actually pretty cool. Okay, okay, so we can just go to walrus.codes and this works. Okay. And still we are not seeing HTTPS, we are still seeing HTTP. And yep, I have added like a 3-minute sleep timer here because if you are launching a new instance and installing Docker on it and changing some configuration in the remote AWS instance, that takes some time. And what was happening is uh, the instance was still configuring itself, and this next step, SSH step, was running very quickly, and this was trying to SSH into the remote instance even before it was completely configured. So I added this 3-minute timer, but I guess 3 minutes is a long timer. I should change that. 1 minute I think should be cool. 1 minute. Okay, so we also have to add new records. One record is for this, one record for backend, one for the actual front end. Yeah, cool. Terraform, DNS records, we can just add new records. Let's say star.wordpress.codes type A should also point to this. But wait, no, domain name is this, host is star. I think this should work. The host means this is the domain name, and host means the subdomain dot the domain name. I think that is the format. I might be wrong. We will see how this works. And then name.com codes, but I guess this should also give us error because we are using the same name, walrus.codes here, and the same name here also. So that would probably give us an error. Host backend. Sha backend. Type name A should also point to the same thing, but we have to confirm what is the backend name that we are using. Sha. This is for the front end. For the backend, the name is Sha backend walrus.codes. Cool, cool. And anything else? No. I guess TUI, but for that we can just go to walrus.codes. Cool. First of all, I think this will give us error because we are using the same name here for all three of these walrus.codes, walrus_codes, infra, terraform, plan. Yep, error because of the same name. We have to change the name. The front end walrus backend. And now do terraform plan. There shouldn't be any error this time. Cool. It is planning successfully. Cool. Yo. And I guess instead of doing terraform apply here locally on the machine, if we just commit this, we would see everything updated here. So let's commit this whole thing. Status, we just changed these two things. On the GitHub workflow, we added, what did we add? Workflow cd.yaml. Oh, yep, we changed the sleep timer, and here we just added new DNS records. Git commit, new DNS records. Git push origin main and refresh. That should start a new GitHub action. Cool, it is running, and this step takes a lot of time. Push image step takes a lot of time, and I guess in the last one, let's see how much time it took. 1 minute 42 seconds. Yep, that is a bit long, but yeah, I think this will work. This will add new records to this domain, and then the things that we would have to fix is, first of all, this we don't want HTTP here, we want HTTPS, and second would be the actual application, bugs in the actual application. Right now there is a bug that front end is trying to reach localhost, like, which does not make sense. Why is front end reaching localhost? Localhost is not the right place. Cool, 40 more seconds, and this would work. So let's after this work on getting the certification, walrus.codes. And also if you go ssh walrus.codes, this might give error because the underlying instance might have changed. Oh, no error. Cool. Yep, TUI is also active, but there are bugs in the application. If I press enter, cool, error. Ghosty. Cool, that is done. Pull and run. Terraform changes. Terraform initialized successfully. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Okay. This will add, yep, walrus.codes, SHA backend, SHA. Let Terraform finish. Okay, cool. The domain names should have been updated. Okay, cool. Okay. We do have the domain names here. Type record A. Cool. And if you go to star.walrus.codes, we should be going to the right place. We are going to the right place. We see this as red because of dark mode. Now it is fine. Cool, that is very cool. Now the HTTPS part. 1 minute is pretty long. 1 minute is actually pretty long. I got read berserk. Yep. Got Griffith. Just shouting Griffith. And hello, Dom DMK. If I don't do 5 questions today, I die in CF. Okay, that is very dramatic. Your situation feels like the bear. Yep. Very, very tense, stressed situation. If you don't make this work, everything goes down. Cool. This is pulling the latest image, and cool. Cool. That is working. Cool, cool, cool. Now, the HTTPS part. I do not fully understand how is Terraform getting the HTTP certificate. Here we added a new provider called TLS and ACM. We are using this TLS provider so that we are able to create a key value pair which we give to ACME to communicate. And keys. Yep. This resource is given to us by the TLS provider. Create a key value pair, a private and public key value pair using this algorithm, RSA algorithm, and we are giving the number of bits that should be used. If we divide this by 8, we should get the number of bytes, which should be 512 bytes, 512. Cool. And certificate. In this, create an account on Let's Encrypt. This part creates an account on Let's Encrypt using this key. So this part, I suppose, is saying that this is my username, this is my email ID, and this is the key which I will be using for communication. Cool. Make an account for me. And then ACME certificate. Walrus, this part gets an ACME certificate, which we are saying this is my private key, and using this Let's Encrypt, which is the CA, that is certificate authority, which we are using for getting a certificate, will know who it is that they are talking to. And common name is like this is the domain for which I want a certificate, and then we are giving it a DNS challenge. DNS challenge is a challenge that you have to complete to get a certificate. And in this challenge, this provider CA, which is in this case Let's Encrypt, this will tell you to put a specific file at a specific path in your domain. So for example, Let's Encrypt will tell you, okay, if you want certificate for this domain, prove that you own this walrus.codes domain. And to prove that, it will say add a file, let's say some random path / index.txt, and it will say that put a file index.txt at this path, and after that Let's Encrypt will go to this path and check if the file is there. If the file is there, then Let's Encrypt can say that the person who is asking, which is us, for the certificate owns this domain, because that is the only case, that is the only reason that they are able to add a file there. And yep, and how are we adding the file? It is happening automatically, this thing. We are saying that the provider for this DNS record is name.com, and this is the token and the username, and update whatever you have to update, and the updation is done by Terraform, and cool, everything is cool. Now when we do have the certificate, what do we have to change in the code? RSA encryption. Thought about giving a shot at Vagabond is cool. Vagabond is cool. I am caught up actually. I am waiting for their fight on the island, secret island. And there is a screenshot that I took. I don't know if I have it. Bean shade. This is it with this music in my head. I get the image of Almohadib Atreides walking in the desert uh, and giving his speech. Sheet Gim Sharim. Okay. That is not gonna come back ever. Yes. Bro is just actually on hiatus. He will not continue the manga. We will just keep waiting. Patience. He is teaching us patience. But at the end, or like in the later parts of Vagabond, there is a dialogue in which I think it is the main character who says that understanding the weak is the true strength, which is pretty cool. Okay, now we do have our DNS record. What do we have to do on our code base? I guess we have to change our Nginx configuration and say HTTPS. I don't know. HTTPS listen on port 443 443. Okay, let's just test if this works without searching up anything. Substitute 80 with 443 and substitute 80 with 443. Cool. HTTPS, that is giving us a bit of an error. But if someone does not want to use HTTPS, can we say just use HTTP? I guess we should not. You only talk to us using a secure line. And you don't talk to us otherwise. Git status, git add, commit, Nginx, config, git push, origin main. Let's see, this will start an action on GitHub. And this will again take 1 minute 40 seconds to build and push the images. Wait, what? Jiatan is coming for you. RS encryption. Okay, is already inside your walls. He might be, but we don't know. That might be a she or something. Jiatan. It's not gonna come back ever with that fight. Same mofo who slaughtered 70 guys to prove. Yes, same person who slaughtered. That was like for real. He did that. I actually forgot the name of shit. I forgot his name. I guess I have his book. I do have his book in the Book of Five Rings. Miyamoto Musashi. B70 men. I think it was for real. In the manga, it did happen. And the school is a real historical event, but the famous 70 man figure is little exaggerated. Okay, but the duel did happen. 1v70. He fought a lot of people that day. Like Musashi. Yep, messed up. I have a feeling that either Jeten or some members of their group were women. They could be. Yep. And pull and run Terraform. We didn't actually change anything in Terraform this time, so yep, nothing. No changes this time. Cool. Public IP is this. I guess we should not keep putting this out like this, but there is no problem because if you are going to the domain, you will see the public IP. Let's see. This will wait for 1 minute. Cool. GTO is also a great one, great teacher. Oh, if you haven't watched it, my friend watched it and he said it is very cool. Get tired very easily nowadays. I have to catch up on my two One Piece episodes. No, not two, three, 1156, two, 1158, three episodes. And then GTO is actually pretty long. There is also manga. Wait, where is Mal? Yes, that is the only website you go to for anime. Rank 75. That is very good. Episodes 43. 43 is not too much episode. Shit, bro, drink coffee, but I mean, that is fine. Everything you feel right now is temporary, the bad and the good, everything. Yeah, that is a possible thing. Overrated? No, 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 bro. It might be in terms of like technicality, but I go to Mal because of, you know, that is where I started. So I will not change to anything else. Okay, okay, this is working. If we go to https //walrus.codes and shit, wait, why is this working? How is this working? I would like to see the Nginx. We should SSH into the remote server, i.e. the certificate, AWS, and username Ubuntu, and IP address walrus.codes port 432. Yo. Hmm. Hmm. I guess instead of this, we should use the actual IP address 65.1.113.21. That should not change anything, but suspicious. Wait, it is not complicated. It is like it is very simple. Minimalist, but right now, why is this not working? We are able to SSH into the remote machine from here, from GitHub, but not from the local thing. Hmm. Okay, these are just this is just printing the environment variables due to some reason. Why is it printing the environment? Yes, it literally says env. I thought, why is like AWS secret key here? Hmm. Host is this, username is this, key port 4321, key is also right. SSH, use this key, and the key is in .sh slash AWS. That is the secret key. use this to go to Ubuntu. Wait, Ubuntu at the rate. The URL is 65 dot one, no, not URL, the IP address 651.132.1.5, and the port is 4321. And that should just work. Permission denied. We are using the correct API. Ubuntu spelling is wrong. UBUNTU. Shit. That was the only thing. Okay, shit. Okay, it is working. And here we do have Docker, but Docker comes with sudo command. Docker. Yes, these. Nginx configuration failed. Nginx configuration failed, which means if we go error, Docker start Nginx production. Docker, yes, Nginx production is working. Now we will SSH into this exec interactive TTY into Nginx production. SSH cannot. Why is it stopped? Docker PS. Okay, bro killed himself. Nginx prod is there now. Restarting. Oh shit. Status restarting. I guess the Nginx configuration is wrong. Yep, that is the only explanation, that the Nginx configuration is wrong. Nginx config for HTTPS. Configuring HTTPS server. Listen, this SSL is what we have to say. SSL certificate, and we also have to provide the certificate. And for 80, we just say return 301 error and HTTPS host request URI. Okay. HTTPS server 443 is okay. And we also have to give the certificate. Okay, certificate which we have to get using. Okay, I'm keep reading the same message again and again. Okay. These are the things. Listen, 443 SSL and server name will SSL certificate key. These two things we have to add. Wait, but shit, recommended. I guess these are just some generic things. No shit, this is telling which protocol to use. Okay, we just copy paste this. Okay, hi. Wait, and this is saying do not use a null protocol and do not use a MD5 protocol. Use these protocols. No, these are ciphers. Do not use these ciphers. These two ciphers. These are bad. Use and use these protocols. This and this. Okay, and then we have to give it the key. Okay. certificate key and the certificate itself. Cool. SSL certificate. Like this. And how are we going to get the SSL certificate and the key? We will use Terraform to put those things as environment variables. And in our script, in our GitHub actions, we will put that certificate and the key on the remote server. I think there is a command, Linux command, put files on remote server Linux. There is a command s something, scp, I think it is scp. Yep, scp path on the host file. Where do we want to put it? And the path. scp will handle everything. Okay, so for now let's just configure this. Remove this, put this here. Cool. And the path is going to be this example. No shade. Walrus.codes. Wait, do the subdomains also need to have their own certification? If they do, that is crazy. Domains like hello.mysite.com also need a DNS certificate. This certificate, if mysite.com already has one, does it need a DNS certificate? Yes. Shit. Okay. So I guess we should write this down. In here, credentials. Oh, this is like very smooth now. So we need to put add a few things. One is get certificates for sub domains. That is one thing. Thing number one. And thing number two is put certificates on a remote server using which command? The command scp using scp. And the third is update Nginx config. So let's do the first step. Let's do step number 3 first of all. scp. That's horror. Wait, how is it horror? Wait, Hoover, our maxing extract pressure pro model 60. Are you okay, bro? Swordmaster Dom DMK. I know this is your alt account. How are you? I guess I'm not getting enough vitamins and nutrients, or maybe you are like thinking a bit too much. Horror is this is the dialogue from Apocalypse Now. The horror. Yeah, so this is like a horrible scene when it might spoil. Yeah, cool. First of all, let's update this configuration. Okay, that's cool. So this has to say the exact name sch backend .com.cert sch backend.com.key. Cool. that should point to localhost 2222, and this is star.walrus.codes, star.walrus.codes, and this is the last one. This also needs the same thing. Default server, and here also default server. Server name is this, and default server is walrus.codes, star.walrus.codes. Cool. And this is in HTTP. We will have one more of this, include the MIME types, and change this whole thing whenever you see 443. Substitute 443 space SSL with 80. Cool. Server name, this. Remove all this. I guess we can just say return code 31 and redirect. Or instead of this, we can just change the default server settings. Default server name, whatever. Here, return code 31 and HTTPS host and URI. Cool. If someone tries to read the HTTP version, then they will get nuked. They will get redirected. The HTTPS version. Cool. And oh, wait. Hello. How is it? Shit, is this a Walter White reference? Probably. If you want to escape, that is. Album. Shit, that is an album. Crazy. It came out last year. That is cool. Okay. You've done this step. Updated the Nginx configuration, and I think the configuration is pretty cool now. Now get the certificates for the subdomains. Okay, that will happen from Terraform certificates. Yep, here we are getting one certificate. Just need to get a few more. Greedy. Name is star.walrus.codes, and that is it. That is like exactly it. And backend star.walrus.codes. Okay, that will get us the certificates. That will get us the certificates. And cool. Okay. Now in outputs. We need to define some outputs. Can we define like sensitive outputs? Can we say sensitive equals true here? Terraform plan error. Yes, error is, wait, shit, we are not in a Terraform file. Makes sense. Terraform plan error eSIM walrus. Okay, yes, you have to change the name for these certificates. First one is called Walrus. Second one is for Walrus Walrus, and this one is for backend Walrus. Cool. Terraform plan. It was asking for these two things because it named token and username are required. That is cool, but the fact that I wanted to check is that we can make an output sensitive. Make a Terraform output sensitive. Does that even make sense? Yes, you can make a Terraform output sensitive by adding sensitive equals true when an output is marked as sensitive. Terraform redacts its value in the terminal. That is cool. That is cool. That is cool. Which means we can just define two more things. We just need two more things. Okay, so we are able to get certificates for the subdomains. We are able to get. We also did change the configuration here. Now we have to put the certificates onto the remote server, for which GitHub we have to add some commands here after the Terraform command and before the SSH command. After this sleep command here, name, putting certificates, this will run some command scp the path, or wait, how to give shit, can we give a file how to give a variable to scp? I think we have to put the certificate in a file and then use its scp, or we can give a variable directly. Cool, we can give a variable directly. That would be preferable. The file is inside steps dot Terraform. Yep, steps dot Terraform dot outputs dot not this. We will have to output two things from Terraform. SSH, no, not SSH. One would be, wait, not just two things, because there are 3 certificates which you are getting, and those 3 certificates will also have their certificate keys, which is crazy. So we need to output 6 things in total. So Walrus certificate equals Terraform output raw in raw format Walrus certificate, and put this in GitHub output. We can give comments here. Cool, we can give comments here. Get certificate for main domain in this part, and then here get certificate for frontend, get certificate for backend. Okay, Okay, cool. And this is fine. And then output walrus certificate key. This would be substitute walrus with front end globally. Cool. And shade, we also have to change this name, certificate key here, and then here underscore key, here also underscore key, and here substitute walrus with backend globally. Enter underscore key here underscore key. Okay, that will get the certificates as environment variables. And here outputs dot walrus certificate SCP walrus certificate, and then use this command user host and the path. Okay, user is Ubuntu, username is secrets.ssh username @host name secrets.sh host name, that is the host name, I guess. Nope, we are getting the host name from here. Steps. I guess we can give this and put this thing on the next line, and it works. Host name steps dot perform dot outputs dot sh host, right? And put this thing at home. Nope, do not put this thing at home. Infra Nginx config, the thing should go to /etc/Nginx etc Nginx /SSL/ this is for walrus certificate. Walrus dot this is the front end, back end, walrus.com.cert. okay, walrus dot shade not com, and this is going to be dot codes dot crt. Okay, that is like one command. And now the same for walrus certificate underscore key, username, host, everything is same except this cert thing will become dot codes dot key. Okay, then this instead of walrus, this will say substitute walrus with front end globally. Okay, we will get the right variable front end certificate. Put this on front end dot no, the name is like wrong. Char dot walrus dot codes, and here certificate key is fine. sha.walrus.codes. Okay, and in the last one, substitute frontend with backend globally. Backend certificate, cool, and put this and sha.walrus.codes. Nope. Backend sha.walrus.codes.cert, and this thing at backend sha.walrus.code.cert. That should work. Putting certificates. That should work. Putting certificates. That should work. That should work. That should work. Hopefully. And then you have to define these outputs in Terraform. Output. Shit, I have to see GitHub workflows cd.yaml. What are the names that we are using? After public IP, the name is walrus certificate. That is the name. No description, just value is going to be ACME certificate dot walrus dot certificate. We can go ACME Terraform provider, and here we can check what are the values, key value pairs. We get resources, ACME certificate, key type, nope. Account PEM key, this is required for something else, but certificate, DNS challenge, recursive, recheck. There are like 100 certificates in this. ACME certificate. Certificate request, certificate request PEM. Certificate password. Revoke certificate on destroy. ACME certificate resource. No. Certificate renewal, certificate URL, certificate.pem, and these things are the following attributes are exported. Okay, these are the things that we will get afterwards. So we will get issuer pem, the full URL of the certificate within the ACME CA, the full URL of the certificate, the common name of the certificate, the certificate's private key in PEM format is the certificate. Okay, I guess this is what we have to put. Certificate's private key, this is what we have to export, and certificate PEM, the certificate in PEM format. This does not include the issuer PEM. This certificate can be concatenated with this to form a full chain. Example, this. Okay, so we, I think, have to export this private key PEM, or let's ask Lord what are the things needed. In our Nginx configuration, we want CERT and key. These are the things exported by ACME provider for Terraform and Nginx needs domain.com dot crt and domain.com dot key for SSL for its config. What things should I export from here? Let's see. I guess it is just the certificate. You need private key, PEM key, yep, which is domain.com.key and certificate plus issuer PEM to make this. Okay. Can we do this concatenation thing? How to append strings in HCL in Terraform. Append the variables with a hyphen. Oh shit, cool. There's this thing is inbuilt in Terraform. Okay. This is one output and its value is not equal to this. And it is also sensitive. Do not tell anyone about this. And the next thing after this is ACME certificate dot walrus dot wait, phone is going to die even though it was on charge so time. Cool. ACME certificate and issuer PEM. Certificate underscore PEM and issuer PEM. Certificate underscore PEM and issuer PEM. Issuer ISSUER. Issuer PEM. Okay. Walrus certificate and walrus certificate key is going to be equal to private key PEM. ACME certificate dot walrus dot private key PEM. This is sensitive and this is non-sensitive. And let's test if this is working. Terraform plan and shit. No configuration files because we are not in the right folder. Terraform plan this. This will probably work. It wants us. Wait, okay. ACME is the thing. Wait, where did we make this type of a managed resource? Walrus has not been declared in the root module. ACEM, okay, makes sense. And ACME ACEM. Cool. Walrus. And what else is needed? Certificate. Walrus. Star Walrus. Backend Walrus. Terraform. We don't have to see the Nginx thing. We just need this. Yes. And here just have to define outputs. Walrus, not walrus, change walrus with walrus certificate key. In these two we have defined now front-end certificate and front-end certificate key. So this would change to front-end certificate and front-end certificate key. Okay, and this gets, yep, here the name is not walrus. Wait, actually we don't have to use tmux here. Yep, we don't have to use tmux here. We can use harpoon instead. We can use harpoon instead. Add this to harpoon and go to GitHub workflows. Add this. We can switch between them very quickly. Cool. We have added walrus, cool, and this, and one more certificates. Yep, add this file here also. SHA walrus. Instead of SHA walrus. Substitute walrus with SHA walrus. SHA walrus, that is correct. SHA walrus, that is correct. Then backend walrus. Let's substitute front-end with backend globally, and SHA, substitute SHA with backend SHA globally. If that was the, no, shit. Substitute underscore SHA with nothing globally. That should work. Hopefully, I think. This is Breaking Bad reference. Why the fuck is it showing? Yes, it is a Breaking Bad reference. And wait, oh shit, I just received these messages. That is crazy. Oh, I think it is time to solve some problems too. Yep. All the best. Shit, like that is the normal behavior. Getting nervous. Terraform plan, empty keys, name.com, keys, token, and username is needed. Wait, shit. That is a sensitive certificate. What things are sensitive? This is not sensitive. Front-end certificate is not sensitive. Back-end certificate is also non-sensitive. Cool. So these are the non-sensitive things. Begin and cool. Okay. Terraform plan will give some random wrong username and key just to see what it is going to do. Permission denied, get record for okay, it is making a request to name.com and name.com is saying you have the wrong credentials. Okay, so export AF or TF Terraform variable namecom username equals gmail.com, and now export TF or namecom API token. This is going to be a secret value, so I will hide my screen. Shit, she keeps calling you. But yeah, I guess it is much easier to just make your own chess website and configure Terraform and solve competitive programming problems than all of this. Okay, let me get my secret key. API dashboard. Manage tokens. Secret key is right here. Clear. Cool. Now you can see the screen. No, that is fine. You can like look at my IP address, no problem with looking at the IP address. And Terraform plan. Bruce planning. We should not get any errors this time. We did not get any errors this time. So what this will do is walrus certificate key would be added. Well, this will create certificates, a lot of certificates. 2 more certificates, which is cool. In total, 3 certificates. Terraform apply to actually do this thing. Okay, and this will do 3 things. This will get the new certificates, then put the certificates on the remote server. This would not be done by Terraform. There is an update. This would not be done by Terraform. Putting the certificates on the remote server would be done by the GitHub workflow that we have written in YAML. Here, using in this part, when we are echoing all of this, we are getting the certificates in some private variables, and then we are using this scp command, which puts those certificates. Yes, which is putting those certificates in the right folders on the remote server. That is done by GitHub workflow, and then we already have updated the Nginx configuration. So this should all make sense together. Git commit added Nginx HTTPS config. Git push origin main. Okay. That will start a GitHub action. GitHub action. Gear rules. Shit. It is easier to do quantum physics. Yes, there is also a meme in which you have been given two options: either steal food from lions or talk to a girl. You steal food from lions. Let's do, while this is happening, some typing. Okay. SH, cool. Images are building and they will be pushed. That was, I think, good. Not too good, but the second half was pretty. Second half was cool. Okay. If this works, then I will end the stream because we don't have anything DevOps related remaining to do. If this works, the next part would be just to fix the bugs in the main app, and for that I will start another stream. Right now nothing is working. We don't have to read this article. We don't have to read this because we already did this. Cool. Pull and run. What is happening? Terraform changes. Okay, Terraform is doing the changes. Terraform has been initialized successfully. Cool. Okay. This is planning what to do. And I hope this works. I actually hope that this works. We will put sensitive equals to true so that no one else would be able to see our certificate, but anyone can see our certificate. No problem with someone seeing the certificate because this is public certificate, not the private one. Wait, I actually do not know if this is something that we should show. I think this is something you can show to people. Front-end certificate key, public IP, sensitive. Okay, that is very cool. And why is it hanging? Shit. Okay, there was an error. Unavailable file command output. In the GitHub workflow, we messed up with some command. Terraform output raw. Terraform output raw. Terraform output raw. Terraform output raw. Terraform output raw should not be causing a problem. Terraform output raw like this. This should not be causing a problem. Wait, can we not output a sensitive? you not output a sensitive Terraform variable? Yes, you can output. Yes, you can prevent from appearing when a variable is marked as sensitive. Terraform will redact its value and display this thing instead during this and this. But when we actually do use output db sensitive equals true output, and this is also sensitive. Wait. If we go to Terraform infra Terraform outputs, if we say okay, public IP, we are seeing that public IP is sensitive, and we are able to get public IP. Terraform LAN just to plan stuff. Cool. Terraform output raw public IP, and that does give us the public IP even though it is raw, even though it is sensitive. So the problem is something else. The exact error message. Yo, GG. Shit, you are hacking me. Have you become the master of OPs? Nope. No, not finished DevOps. Finished DevOps for this project. Don't have to do more in DevOps here. Thing is already inside your system. Shit. I'm cooked. The error was unable to process file command output successfully. Okay. Walrus certificate key is sensitive. Okay, outputs. All of these are outputs. Unable to process invalid format. Shit, invalid format. MITFS. This thing says MIIFHZ. FS. IIFHZ. Okay, this thing. Invalid format. Terraform output. Let's run these commands locally to see what is the problem with them here. Github.com workflows. These are the commands. Yep, these are the commands. These should work. Terraform certificate. That is working totally fine. Okay. Shit, I guess. Yep, that makes sense. We have to make some changes. Yep, and that is the Docker file. That is the Terraform file. Cool. Here we have to say that we have to put this thing inside these commas so that this is treated as a single thing. Yep, so that this is treated as a single thing. Mark not set. Here like this. Cool. That should work. Status. The problem was that since the output of this variable is multi-lined, then only the first line was given as value to this variable, and the next line was being treated as a command, and that is why we got the error that we got, which says this invalid format, like this thing is not a command. But it should work now. Fix Linux config git push origin main. Okay, this will like still take some time to run. Cool. Thank already in the system. Cool. This should work. This should actually work. And also, and there are some other things. I guess since we already are familiar with Docker, we can learn AWS would be cool. In this Learn AWS course, they will teach us about what are VPCs, EC2s. We know about VPCs, we know about EC2s, IAM, identity and access management, so that it is like creating sub-users which have certain privileges. DNS, Route 53, S3, Simple Bucket, CDN, CloudFront, ECS, Elastic Container Service for Docker. This would actually be cool. Shit, I like actually want to take this course. This would be cool. I guess we will do some streams on this in some time. Cool. And so we'll do some streams on this. The Grafana course we started doing, but it went very boring because in the first part they are just teaching us about logging, how to do logging, which seems very boring. And then the CI/CD pipeline, CI/CD course. I guess they would test formatting linting. Yeah. In this whole thing, the only thing that we have set up amongst these, we have not done any CIE stuff, we have not done any test stuff, we have not done any formatting, no linting, no formatting, no linting, no security checks. We have only done build and deploy parts. And like no, we have not done any database things also. Cool. So those are some new learnings. So I guess we will also take this course, and then the Kubernetes, like the big boss, Kubernetes. Okay, that Terraform changes. Certificate key sensitive. Okay. And shit, this is stuck the same way that it got stuck the last time. Yes. But wait, shit. Exactly the same error, invalid format. We are getting the same error as before. Infrastructure, Terraform output, walrus, certificate, this thing, and let's say hello will become equal to Terraform output in raw format, walrus, certificate, echo hello. Shit, okay, that is like messed up. Invalid format is crazy. Hello, have you heard of ReZero anime. Yep, I have not watched it though. And I guess they have a lot of seasons. 4 seasons. Okay, 4 is not too much compared to One Piece. 8 rating. Actually, I guess 8 rating is low in terms of how much ratings anime get. What is the rating for One Piece? Number of episodes 8. That is crazy. One Piece just has 2 seasons. That is something else. That is the series, Netflix series. 9. Yeah, yeah, yeah. One Piece. Let's go. Here, back to this. Invalid format does not make sense. Who is even giving us this error? EOT. I guess. Yes. Error is when we are combining those. No, we are not combining anything here. At least we are not combining anything here. We are combining them here. Let Terraform finish, but we are not getting to this step. Therefore, the error is in this step here. Let's create a separate step for this. Name set outputs. ID would be Terraform. Run on this. Cool. And before this, cd into dot infra Terraform cd to the right folder. Okay, here Terraform changes and then set Terraform outputs. If we get error in this step, which we probably will, we will be getting error in this step. I guess we cannot. Yes. Here we did a crazy thing. We gave lines in between. I guess you are not supposed to do that. Give lines. This might work. Git push is in main. Let's see how it goes. Actions, latest action. It is running. It will take 1.4 minutes to build and deploy the image. And also, does it always take that much time? In this, it took 1 minute 27 seconds. In this, it took 1 minute 48 seconds. And 1 minute 46, around 1 minute 40 something. Yeah. Cool. Right now, so this will also take that much time. Then pull and run, and the only change that we made is we removed the extra lines which were there, putting certificates. And also I guess it is okay to put yep, I guess it is okay to put this thing at the end of a Linux command and then continue the command on the next line. I think like there is no problem with this. Pull and run. Cool. This will pull and run. Setup out, check out. Set Terraform changes. Okay, Terraform changes. Successfully configured the backend S3. Terraform has been successfully initialized. Okay, that is cool. And then no changes, it will detect. There is no change to be made anywhere. Everything is already caught up. No changes, cool. That is the output. Set, yep, we are getting error in this. CD, we did CD, no problem with CD. But then it's okay, cool. After CD, we are getting error with this. There is some problem with this command. Wait, with this, why is there a problem with this command specifically? This command was like working before. We output raw public and put it here. Clean up orphan. Wait, job complete. Yeah, there was an error. Unable to process file command output successfully. It is treating output as a command. But why this was like totally working fine before here? Here. Terraform changes, after changes, outputs. Let's look at how the code was looking. Here. We can only see the changes here, but how was the whole browse files? We are at a older commit, which is cool. Okay, GitHub per close, cd-aml, pull and run steps. Yep, exactly this, and this was working before. Echo ssh host equals dollar terraform terra terraform output raw public IP and put it here. Terraform output public IP. Terraform output public IP. Comment this out along with this. It should be fine. Git push origin main. Okay. Wait, what? Last season shared. Okay. I guess EP2 was last, right? Episode 2. Wait, what? For One Piece or ReZero? It is kind of boring at the start. ReZero or One Piece. Wait a minute. I have to like stop the stream for a minute. Start it. Wait. Shit. Shit. Text gone. Cool. Lock. Okay. Yep, we did push main. This should work. It is still building the image and pushing it. Wait, confusing. ReZero. What is confusing is tenet. Tenet is actually confusing. By Christopher Nolan, it just messes up with your brain. You will keep figuring out what is happening, what is real, and what is who is from where. Terraform has been successfully initialized, acquiring stuff. Okay. And also cd infra terraform outputs. Let's make everything sensitive. Walrus certificate sensitive equals true is already sensitive equals true, sensitive equals true, and cool. Okay, this should work. This should work. There is no problem. Yep, that is working. Okay, which means problem is specifically this command is fine, but the problem is with these commands somewhere. Terraform terra put output raw in raw format walrus underscore certificate and put it in GitHub output. Should not be a problem. Echo this will not be a problem. Walrus certificate terraform terraform output raw walrus certificate GitHub output. Let's see if only this one is working or not. If this works, move GitHub and git commit git push origin main. You see you dropped. Okay, and this first step always builds the GitHub image, the Docker image, and this just always takes time. And also there is no way of avoiding this, because if I were to write down that only do this thing, run this step when there is a change in the actual code and not change on the in the infrastructure code, if we were to say that, then this would not run, which we want to run whenever there is a change in the infrastructure code. We want this always to run whenever there is a code in whenever there is a change in infrastructure code. So yep, these two things cannot be dependent on different things. And learn Kubernetes would be the next thing. No, not this pod. Shit. Next would be AWS. I guess I will take this on stream or off stream. I'll have to see if it seems interesting and is not too boring. I'll take it on stream. Terraform configuring itself. Okay, that is taking way more time than it should be taking. Okay, cool. It is done actually. It just didn't print anything. Set Terraform outputs. gave us error. Why this thing? This thing is problematic. Unable to process file command output. Terraform output. Terraform output. Why is this problematic? Echo, we just did echo Terraform output here. Why is it problematic here? Wait, unable to perform because we gave the wrong name, I think. Infra Terraform outputs here. This is called WALRUSCERTIFICATE. WALRUSCERTIFICATE. Okay. No, these two are the same things. Or I am blind. Yep, these two are exactly the same. No mistake in spelling. And also, if you run this command locally, it just works. Terraform output this. No output found. The street file has no outputs defined, or all defined outputs are empty. Please define. Okay, shit. This is because we are in the wrong folder. Terraform output this, and we do see the output. So why is this not able to get the output here? Because the output is sensitive. If we were to run this command, this will give us something. What? I didn't read. Okay. Okay, you can take a break. It is fine. Wait, let me hide my screen. This might show some stuff. Terraform key, and that is also printing. That is also printing. Terraform output. This is not working on GitHub. Walrus certificate. Wait, shit. Is it because we are using this name Walrus certificate here and like this because of this specific thing? Okay. Okay, that is problematic, I think. Echo this thing, or okay. Bash or source takes the output of this command. Source takes the output of this command. Error. no such file or directory echo. Pause, run this command. Okay, so this is an actual command. Like, just keep going. Dollar this, and also I guess this, but no, shit, we cannot add this. Cool. No such file or directory, walrus equals this. Why would this be a file or directory? Just run this as a string. Let's put this inside a text.sh source test.sh echo walrus certificate and shit. Okay, this is working, no problem with this. Why is it not working there? What frustrates me the most is writing code, because something you have the logic, but writing it down in code is cumbersome. But that is the thing, right? That is the second half. After thinking about the thing, you have to implement it. After thinking about the algorithm, it is part of the process of the part. Terraform output walrus certificate. This does not work. This does not work. Does not work. SSH. Let's give this to Claude. It will figure out. Maybe this is about some specific way that commands are executed on GitHub workflow. This is a command that I am running on a GitHub workflow, and this is giving error, and the error is this, specifically this. The error is caused by the certificate value being multi-lined. I did put this thing there to fix that. Cert equals this, run this, cert equals this. Wait, shit, wait, this is caused by a multi-line value, multi-line GitHub actions, GitHub output format, does it accept raw new lines in values? Okay, so this is a GitHub thing. The fix is to encode the certificate so that it is a single line. Encode the thing into base 64 option 1 and disable the line wrapping, so the base 64 output is a single line. Then whenever you consume the value, decode the value, echo this thing, pass it to base 64, decode, and do base 64 w 0. Okay, and w0 disables line wrapping. Okay, wrap 0, and then decode. Okay, cert equals Terraform output. Okay, so that is one option. Or we can use this, or we can use this multi-line. Nah. This is fine, we will use this base 64, but here we can, I think, pipeline this to base 64 E64 W0. Will this work? pipeline right here. Almost drop the single quote. This single quote. Okay, that makes sense. Drop the single quote. The thing is this, not this. The single quotes will be treated as literal characters in the value. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Makes sense. And comment. Get certificate. Certificate. Yeah, get certificates. And in all of these, substitute single quotes with nothing globally. Okay, and also substitute this with space, this base 64 space w0 and this. Okay, cool. That is cool. That will do the thing. And when we are actually using the value later on in this step, this step, we are using the value here. We have to pass this value this thing will output a value. Wait, we can do echo this value and then pass it to base 64 decode and do the same thing on all of these. Echo space error base 64 D and this same here. Echo space base 64 D this cool and wait shit we certificate key, yeah, cool. Echo this base 64 D this cool this echo this base 64 D cool and echo here base 64 D and that looks good, I guess. Should work. Okay, git, you go back, cd back, git add, git commit, git push, and so let's start the workflow here. This step will take time, and while this is happening, I will go to washroom and I will be right back in 1 minute. I'm back. Cool. Okay. What is this? Yeah, and I think I got it. Okay, that is pretty cool. Why is my Linux getting slow suddenly? Share you use Linux? That is pretty cool. Uh, or maybe frame rate is low. Okay, I'm going to submit my solution. If it doesn't work, I will crash out. Shit, do not crash out. We are on step two. We are on step two, and hopefully this works. Hopefully your problem also gets work. Okay, that is pretty cool. Got accepted. Set outputs. Everything was sensitive here. Shit. Okay, it is not working. This is not working. It should not take this much time. The CD step did ran, but shit, this should not take this much time. This should not take this much time. Mhm. Get certificates. Yep, that should not be taking that much time. Oh shit, it worked. Okay. That step worked. Cool. All of these ran success. I guess it was taking time because of this base 64 encryption, removing new lines. Cool. Removing new lines, and this will sleep for 1 minute, and then we will move on to the next step here, where we will be putting the certificates to the right places, and then we will SSH and start the new configuration and the new containers. Cool. This is waiting for 1 minute. Shell environment variables, all of these are like secret environment. Okay, that is not very good. That is not very good. Everyone is able to see. That is problematic. Shit. That is actually problematic. Everyone is able to. Okay, first of all, I will have to get new certificates because this is already there. I cannot remove this. But shit, why did this fail? SCP step, this step failed. Because of new line, I guess. Because of new line. Does git workflow allow multi-line commands like this? If it does not, that is problematic. We will have to put everything on the single line, on a single line. The issue here is escaping your backslash continuous have a trailing space after this. Okay, shit, there is a trailing space after this. Oh shit. Yes, now it should work. And also the certificate is getting printed, like literally it is getting printed on the screen. give this the output of this to SSH as the standard input and put it there. Okay, we can do that, but wait, there's a problem. This part gets printed on GitHub Actions page as normal text, which should not happen. All the secrets are out. Wait, you'll drink something? That is cool. Yes, all the data is out there now. That is because GitHub Actions make secrets, masks secrets, but not normal outputs. And this is a step output, not a secret. So it gets printed verbatim in the logs. To suppress it, you have a few options. Pipe to a masked variable. Echo this. Run this as a step. Run this as a step before the one that uses them. Step dot terraform certificate. Okay, shit, we can do this. We can do this. That is cool. That is cool. Add masks. Add masks. Echo. Like this. Add mask. Add mask. Add mask. Is that okay? But okay, I guess that is okay. Or store this thing as a secret. Redirect output for sensitive step. Let's see if this add mask thing works. Add mask this here also. Okay, here also the same thing. Add mask. Okay, here add mask, and then okay, and cool. This is secret, this is secret, this is secret, this is secret, secret, secret. Okay. And does this add mask thing work normally? Hello equals hi. Echo. Add mask. Hello. Shit, it just prints add mask at the start. I guess GitHub will read it and do something with it. Git push. Shit. Git commit. Git push origin main. Cool. Let's see. Okay, from your other account, even semester key data. 7th May, yeah. Shit, exams are from 7th May. Shit. I also have a back. I have to prepare for it. Okay. Building damage, pulling damage. It is over. Yes, it is over. We are not going to survive this. Shit, it has already been 3 hours. That is crazy. Actually, I got back in maths. Maths. Shit. No, mine is sixth semester. Yes, sixth. It's going to be crazy. Ah, shit. We are able to update the DNS records to point to the latest one. We are just fixing here now the certification part. School. It's school. Yep, maths 4. Shit, me and you can study maths 4 together. Like, actually. Hmm. Okay. Let Terraform finish. We could have removed that step. 1 minute step. Let Terraform finish this out. Setting outputs. This is setting outputs. And true. It is probably shit, probability stats, differential equation. Like I gave the right answer. They just didn't take it properly. I gave them the right answers. They messed up. Shit. Okay. This is taking time. We just have to wait. We'll do a race. Okay, 1 minute countdown. Yes, everything is going horribly, and this is also not working now. Stat cp no such file or directory. Invalid input to base 64. What was the input? Wait, something did go there, I think. It was running this command. All of these commands. LSTLLSTLS. Terraform output raw certificate. No, don't output the key. Output the certificate. LSTL. Is there a LSTL thing here? No, there is no LSTL thing here. What is LSTL0? And why all of them are equal to this LS0? Walrus certificate. There is also the front end certificate. Is it L? No, there is no L in this also. Also, this is shorter. Backend. Nope. Probably we messed up in the thing that we wanted to print. Certificate key. I guess it is like already out. No problem with printing it. Shit, it was not out. This is different. This is the private RSA key. Terraform destroy. This will destroy literally everything. And we have to put in some values. Stop. Okay, let me put in the values. Export tf var variable name com username equals jrag, not this, jrag 137@gmail.com and tf var name com underscore, not username but API token equals to some secret thing, which let me hide my screen to get. Secret token from name.com. Walrus.codes. Token manage API token. Okay, now you can see the screen. Let me unhide. Okay, and now Terraform destroy everything, so that I suppose this will also destroy the certificate, so that no one would be able to exploit this key being visible here. RS bits. Yep, destroy everything, destroy the server and everything, literally everything. Destroy everything, and we have to fix this, but I guess how to put certificates online. Hello, arranged. Let me explain the situation. The problem right now is we got the certificate using Terraform, and if we do Terraform output certificate key and everything, we can get the key and the certificate using this. We want to put this certificate onto the AWS instance which was created by Terraform, but for that we have to run commands from this. We have to run commands from wait Nginx. Okay, shit. Okay, let me explain the situation. So we have to we do have the certificates, right? We do have the certificate so that we can do HTTPS stuff, but we need these certificates to go onto the AWS instance which was created by Terraform, right? And for that we are doing this. First, in the Terraform steps, we are putting these certificates as environment variables, you could say. And then in the later step here, we are putting the certificates onto the remote server, for which we can use this command. SCP takes in a string, a very long string, and puts it onto this host with this username, and at this path put the string that we gave you as a file at this place, so that this would put the certificate onto the remote server. Now there were two problems with this. One is when we run echo with a command like this, it just prints the whole certificate and also the secret key locally with on like here. Look at this, everything is getting printed, which is horrible. We should not do this. Everything is public, so that is one thing that we have to fix. And second is, the second thing was that when we are on this step, this certificate is a multi-line string, but GitHub output this variable or this file where we are putting these certificates, this does not support multi-line strings. That is why we have to pass it to this base64 function, which removes the new lines by, it just removes the new line. And then later on, when we are using this thing, this secret, then we have to pass it back to base64 before using it with this decode flag. So like that thing is fixed, but we still have to fix the masking thing. Claude said that if we add mask before the variable name, GitHub would mask it, but GitHub is just now printing this whole secret key with add mask. That is not very cool. So that is the problem. But I just noticed that we are putting this onto the host machine, onto the AWS instance, but that is not the thing. That is not the place where we should be putting this. We have to put this in the container which is running in Nginx. Not here. We have to put this in the container which is running in Nginx. Yep. We have to put this in the container which is running in Nginx, and that means we want the certificates at the build step. How do we put something inside? We have to put the certificates at the build step. Yep, we need the certificates at the build step. Here build, when we are building backend Nginx, and this target being this, and in this Docker file, how do we put the certificates inside the Nginx container? That is crazy. And we also would need two Nginx configurations. One would be for the production server, which would support HTTPS connection, and one would be for the local Nginx server with which we are testing, and that would not have HTTPS. It would only have HTTP connection. This is the development. It only exposes port 80. This thing exposes port 443 also. Shit. Okay. For now, I guess this would be it. Shit. That is like shit. So crazy. Okay. Okay, that is very slow. It is literally taking 100% of the GPU. So we have to fix put certificates in the container and hide certificates or hide private key from GitHub workflow. These would be the two things that you would do in the next stream. For now, that would be it for now, and thank you for being here. Bye.